So this is the HomePod Mini, and so I'm not gonna be able to do this on the floor. Okay. So this is the HomePod Mini, and it's a pretty phenomenal little smart speaker. But should you buy it? Well, how much do you love Apple?
I'm Siri, but enough about me. How can I help you?
G'day, you're watching Tech Finder. As always, links to everything we talk about are in the description below. And hey, if this video was informative or useful to you, throw us a like when we're done. The HomePod Mini is a small but very capable smart speaker from the one and only Apple. And I do mean only, because if you want this device to work at its best, you'll want to own a lot of Apple stuff already. In fact, you can't even set one of these up without either owning an iPhone or, luckily for me, an iPad. But hey, once you do fetch your iDevice, setting these up is super simple. You just put your iPhone or iPad near the HomePod Mini and it should pick it up. Then all you need to do is follow the prompts and Siri's your uncle.
So I've just set up my HomePod Mini and I'm keen to see what Siri can do, because hey, new smart speaker means test out everything the virtual assistant can do straight away, doesn't it? Hey Siri, tell me a joke.
What do you get when you cross an elephant and a kangaroo? Earthquakes in Australia.
Oh, good. So after my detailed and thorough setup process, I pretty quickly started to realize the HomePod Mini, it's not for my house. Why? Well, I just don't have the tech to support it, and my current smart devices like my Yeelight globes and my Chromecast and soundbar, all of those do not talk to Apple Home. Basically, if you want the HomePod Mini to be fully functional and for it to be a seamless integration with everything, you're going to want to invest money in stuff like the Apple TV and smart devices that you know definitely work within the Apple ecosystem.
There's a list on Apple's website, link in the description, and you can find the logo on the side of compatible product boxes.
So yeah, heaps of devices that do actually work in an Apple home, but Google and Amazon Alexa do have more.
It's also worth noting, at least right now in Australia, you need to use Apple Music as your music streaming service, which I'm not a huge fan of.
I just feel like if they're forcing you to use their app and you've already shelled out over $100 for this speaker, at least chuck in like a subscription for a year or something. I want my speaker to work out of the box without paying any more.
Luckily, that may all change soon with iOS 14.5. Some beta testers of the update have noticed that it finally allows you to pick your default music streaming service. So hopefully this gives HomePod owners more choice.
So even though I only had an iPad, a MacBook Pro, and a few smart lights connected to this, I can kind of see the appeal of having a fully Appled out home. It's pretty cool.
AirPlay worked flawlessly every time I used it. Siri responds super quickly as you throw music playback between your devices into different rooms, and you can even use the HomePod as the default speaker for your MacBook if you want. All of this seamless speaker connectivity really adds up to a fun and user-friendly experience.
And honestly, I think that's where most people will get the most joy out of this, the speaker.
It's really, really good for a speaker of this size. You're not going to be getting bass you can feel exactly, but it sounds great at pretty much any level and has a top volume that confidently fills most rooms.
Now, if you decide to buy a couple of these, you can actually put them in the same room and pair them as a stereo pair. It sounds awesome.
Now, it should be noted, for a similar price, you can get either the Google Nest or Amazon Echo, both of which are bigger and better speakers with a fuller sound profile.
But mate, if you're looking for something a bit smaller than those, you can't go wrong with this. This is a great speaker. What the HomePod Mini has that those two devices don't is 360 sound.
You can stand anywhere near this thing and it will sound pretty much the same no matter where you are.
So that sounds pretty cool and useful for people who want to put this in the center of the room and have 360 audio pumping out in all directions. But then you've got to have to deal with this and hide this big old power cable. So most of us are probably going to put it against a wall on a shelf or a table. And honestly, if it wasn't for this big old cable sticking out the back, I would kind of expect this to be more like a Bluetooth speaker. Like, look, super portable. They're so nice to pick up and hold and touch and just like handle that I kind of just want to walk around with these like a couple of musical fruits and just blast music at people. But alas, they're tied down by their power cables.
But I do love the design of these things. They're soft to touch and the mesh fiber on the outside feels quality, though I'm not sure you're meant to be touching it that much. Where you are meant to touch is a glass touchpad on top that allows you to physically control your music without speaking to Siri.
As you can tell, it's a bit of a fingerprint magnet, so I kind of stopped using this pretty quickly. Just kind of ruins the aesthetic having like greasy finger marks all over the top, especially the one that I've got in the kitchen.
It's kind of hard to tell if touching the volume buttons are actually doing anything while nothing's playing, and it's hard to see at a glance how loud it's actually set to. But hey, it works totally fine, and I like that really clear indication that Siri is listening to you when it lights up with the Siri colors on top.
I think that's a really nice touch. Although I did notice while I was sitting down, because the LEDs are on top, you can't actually see if Siri's listening to you. So there's a slight annoyance there. Now, before I wrap up this review and give you my final recommendations, if you decide that the HomePod Mini is for you, there are links to it and all of the devices that you can connect to it down in the description. If you still need help deciding, head over to finder.com, where Alex Kidman has written a review on the HomePod Mini recently as well. We had pretty similar responses to it, but if you need a second opinion, his is well worth listening to. Links to that review are in the description as well. But do I think you should buy the HomePod Mini? How much Apple stuff you got? To me, the HomePod Mini feels like the cherry on top of an already Apple-centric household. It's for the sort of person who has an iPhone, who uses Macs as their computers, who has an Apple TV, maybe some iPads laying around, and they use all of Apple's software together with that ecosystem of products.
If you have all that, the experience here is going to be great. The speaker is awesome, and the seamless connectivity with everything Apple is just too good to pass up.
But if you're like me, with access to one or two Apple products and no integration with their software, you're probably just not going to like this very much.
Siri is fine as a virtual assistant, but both Google and Alexa do more and connect to more smart devices in general. For about the same price as the Mini, you can get either the Google Nest or Amazon Echo, both of which have better speakers too.
So the verdict, if you are an Apple fan looking to start a smart home, I can highly recommend this as a place to start. If you're not or aren't fully committed to Apple's ecosystem, you can probably skip this one. Whew, all right, first review over. We're still experimenting with the format here. It's our first review, so if you have any suggestions or loved something or didn't like something, let us know in the comments. I really do want to hear from you so we can make this show even better and review stuff that you want to hear about. If you did like it, throw us a like as well. And if you loved it, hit subscribe because there's going to be plenty more of this coming. Hey Siri, goodbye.
Until we talk again.
Until we talk again.